Yo. What's going on, man? Today is April the 13th, 2023. It's your boy Chris, and this is the ChrisBeCappinn NBA show. Live on Twitter. I'm also live on YouTube as well. I don't know if I said I was going to do a show today or not, but I meant to say I was going to do a show. I'm also going to do another show in the morning. The podcast will be back tomorrow. Cashed It with Chris will be back in the morning. And then I'll also be doing the propcast with my guy Munoz again tomorrow, where we'll be going through some player props as well for the games that we have tomorrow, the two playing games tomorrow. So I'll be on the propcast with Munoz and the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. So check out that podcast. I'll be sure to tweet that out. Did pretty well, and I'm think it's the perfect segue right into a recap of yesterday. So we had the two playing games yesterday, and recap is at the bottom. So 3-2 yesterday. The props did well. 3-1 on the props yesterday. Patrick Williams cashed the over 7.5 points. I think he finished with 10. Jakob Pertl did not get the 11.5 points. The one I probably was the least amount of confident in, just kind of like the numbers that he had been putting up against that team. But Jakob Pertl did not go over. Also, like that the Bulls were giving up a lot of points in the paint as well. But Jakob Pertl did not go over. We did see Vucevic destroy his rebound line. I think he finished with like 13. We only needed 11. So 2-1 in that game. And then Dort did stay under the 5.5 rebounds. That's 11 career games against the Pelicans, and he hasn't grabbed 6 rebounds. So something you kind of, write in your notes section for maybe even, next season. And then the Oklahoma City, I'm sorry, it wasn't the Oklahoma City Thunder. It was it was the Oklahoma City Thunder team total to go under 110.5. That did not cash. They did stay under 110 till about 2 minutes left. I think it was 2 minutes and 41 seconds when they actually went over. So Pelicans didn't bring their best defensive effort like I thought that they would. I know that the Thunder played at a faster pace than most teams do, but I thought that they would play a little bit better defense, and I anticipated the game to go under. I anticipated the Pelicans to win, and the Pelicans maybe not to even score as many points, and the Thunder to pick up their defense. But we didn't see that, so that lost yesterday, and Jakob Pertl lost as well. So 3-2 day, but it was a profitable day. So feel pretty good overall. Really was looking for a sweep. I'm always looking for a sweep. I hate losing. So that's what I got for you guys as far as the recap. I'd like to be transparent with you guys about what I gave out yesterday. All of these plays were posted. I talked about all these plays yesterday, and then I also posted them in the YouTube community page as well. I know some people real quick, I wanted to address that as well. Some people are, DMing me and adding me on Twitter saying that they don't see the plays. I'm not 100% sure why. I see other people liking the plays. I reached out to people to make sure that they are getting the plays as well. And if you guys are in the YouTube membership tier, either one, and I kind of explain those, uh, tier plays will be shared. Like everything will be posted there. The plays will be shared first for the ChrisBeCappinn community tier support group first, right? That's the group that pays the few people who pay $5.99 a month will get access to my plays as I place the bets. I placed one already for tomorrow's games. And those the people who pay the $5.99 will get those plays first. Those plays will be eventually lifted. The analysis and everything around it will be lifted, and I will share those plays with everyone. You just get first access if you pay. That everything is still free, but if you want first access, you do get it by paying the monthly fee if you want to, along with the other perks that come along with it as well. So I wanted to make sure I kind of cleared that up before I got started. As you guys enter and join, consider hitting the like button if you've just been riding with me, telling me, cashing plays. If you enjoy the community, you enjoy the show. So got that out the way. Get to some of the comments real quick. Easy Money said, appreciate all your work. I appreciate you showing the appreciation. Easy Work. It's a lot of work that goes into it, man. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, you guys should be able to tell by how long I can talk about one specific game for it. Should kind of demonstrate how much research I'm doing. All the different sources. So I really appreciate when it gets recognized. Not that I do it for recognition, but it is a lot of hard work, if I'm being honest with you guys. Super geek to break down the team's coaching strategies. Yeah, that's going to be interesting as well. Shout out to my guy AOD. Appreciate the love, AOD. Sean said, "What's going on? What's up, Sean? Timberwolves going beat them? Yeah, I think the Timberwolves going to win too." Vaughn said, "Yeah, I got the plays and they came through on my phone as a notification. I appreciate that, Vaughn. I appreciate you letting me know. And if you're in YouTube, I don't post just random things. It's not going to be pictures of an animal or anything crazy. If I send you guys something, it's going to be a play. So yeah, I would say that it's okay to turn the notifications on if you guys are interested." And you're already in the community group. Shout out to Deshaun for becoming a member. I appreciate you as well. Did I sign up? I don't know. Ryan, if you signed up, I can let you know. If you shoot me a DM on Twitter, I can let you know. But I don't get a notification when you guys sign up every single time unless you do it during a show. I don't get a notification. I have to go in and check. I don't. I'm surprised that the membership is growing so quickly, and we're it's doing well. I really wasn't looking for people to sign up, but I do appreciate everyone that has signed up. Like I said earlier, I think people are everybody likes free information and free knowledge and analysis, and I enjoy bringing that. But if people really want to support and tell my plays and get access to the ChrisBeCappinn resources, definitely join. And they can't push anybody to do it, but definitely join this. Cheaper than a lot of other things in the world. Also, if you guys have signed up as well, and you want access to, so if you sign up under the ChrisBeCappinn community support tier, you guys do have access to the ChrisBeCappinn 10 resources. I've heard some good feedback about it. So definitely, if you sign up, I can confirm that you signed up. Shoot me a DM, and then I'll share the document with you guys. So wanted to make sure I mentioned that. Malik said he's proud of his Bulls. Levine showed up big. Yeah, Levine showed. I put a lot of respect on Levine's name, man, because that game did not look like they were going to show up at all. And shout out to my guy Jay Money. I know he was heavy on the Chicago Bulls yesterday, and I kind of want to talk about him a little bit again today. Ryan, I do need your email if you signed up. I can double check to see if you signed up, but yeah, I do need your email. Vaughn said them rebounds props been treating me good. Took Joval, Ladder, and Vucevic rebounds as well. I like it. Vaughn. I said we're gonna see a lot more rebound, props start to hit, especially in these games that gonna be tightly contested in a lot of defense. We should see a lot of misses. Sean says SGA is different. Dude's been on fire. Timothy said Mike Conley prop was fire. Yeah, let's keep appreciate you, Sean. Definitely going to try to keep it going. So let's go ahead and get into it. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I appreciate you guys for joining. Like I said, definitely hit the like button for me if you can. Always greatly appreciated there. And let's jump into it. So we got 2 games tomorrow. We have at the bottom, you guys can see if you're watching on YouTube, we got the Bulls going to Miami, where they are 5.5-point dogs, 5.5-point road dogs. And we had a total that looked like it opened at 209. It's already down to 208, 208.5 at some books. So books are expecting extremely low, extremely tightly contested defensive game. Chicago's team total is only 101.5. Crazy to think that a total is that low. And then the Miami Heat total is only 107. So I haven't really looked at this game from a team total perspective, but that is something that I plan on going in doing just a tad bit. And what I have on this game. So I looked at this game, in its entirety, kind of went back and looked through the season numbers, a bunch of different resources and tools kind of used to kind of cap this game. So first thing I want to look at, I think, and I've been talking about this, right? These teams are different. Like, I've been using a lot of, second half data to kind of support my plays, right? And when I say second half data, I mean, after the All-Star break. So for the Bulls after the All-Star break, and let's start first with the storylines, because there are some storylines in these games, right? So you get Jimmy Butler was traded by the Bulls on June 22nd, 2017 to the Minnesota Timberwolves in the package that included Zach LaVine, right? So I don't know if that's going to be in the back of his mind, but something for us to kind of take into consideration. Kyle Lowry and DeRozan both spent 6 years on the Raptors together as teammates. So, they'll be playing against each other. Then you got Patrick Beverley, who remains pretty frustrated. And he's been vocal about this in the past. Not recently, but, if you follow Patrick Beverley, he has been vocal about being cut by the Miami Heat. And that was actually in 2010, their training camp, when LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Chris Bosh kind of came together on that Miami Heat team. So he's talked about this. It's well documented verbally on his podcast as well. So a lot to play for both of these teams, right? The loser of this game will, start their vacation, and the winner of this game will go on and get the eighth seed and play against the Milwaukee Bucks in the first round. So now looking at the game, so season series wise, DeRozan played pretty well against this team. He averaged 28.3 points. Zach LaVine, 19 and a half. Vucevic, 19. For the Heat, Jimmy Butler averaged 24. Bam averaged right about 21. Tyler Herro, 19. And Zach LaVine and Jimmy did both miss one of the games. The Bulls dominated this team during the regular season as well. They won the season series 3-0. They were dogs in each one of those games as well, which is equally, like, even more impressive. They outscored the Heat by average of 114 to 103. So they won on average by about 10 points a game and shot like just about 50% from the field. The Heat, 45% from the field, 42% from three. 45% for the Bulls, and the Heat shot 33.9%. So looking at this game and kind of breaking the teams down, like I said, you look at the Bulls post All-Star break. They have the best defensive rating in the league. I think we all kind of know that. We talked about that, 2 days ago. We talked about it yesterday. The Bulls also allowed the least amount of points in the paint, just giving up 42.5 points in the paint since the All-Star break. They give up the fewest second points off turnovers, so they do a good job of taking care of the ball, and they're top 5 in fewest second chance points allowed. Also, the second fewest fast break points as well. So this team does a really good job at the small things. If the Bulls have an Achilles heel, we know what it is. It's their ability to be able to score the ball at times. They can go on these real big droughts. Typically, it's at the beginning of a game, and they find themselves down and having to claw their way back into the game. We've seen that with the Memphis game when they kind of needed the win to kind of make sure that they was going to get into the play-in. The Grizzlies jumped out on them big early in that game. It was 2 Sundays ago. And then we saw it again in Toronto yesterday. This team is resilient. They always fight back, but they can go without scoring at times. And a big part of that is that they don't shoot the 3-point ball well, right? If we're being honest, they don't shoot the 3-point ball well. They don't have a lot of guys that can knock down threes consistently at a really high rate. On the opposite side, when we start looking at the Miami Heat post All-Star break, this team is ranked 22nd in second chance points. They don't get any easy baskets. 27th in fast break points. They don't get any easy baskets. They are averaging the third fewest points in the paint. So it's what that tells me is that this team shoots a lot of 3-pointers, and if they're going in, great. If they're not going in, not so good, right? They're top 5 in fewest second chance points allowed, so they do a good job of making sure that other teams don't get second chance points. Although Atlanta did get a lot of second chance points, and they out-rebounded this team. I think it was something like 60-38 in that game 2 nights ago. Also, this team is 26th in opponent effective field goal percentage. So all these numbers in conjunction, right? I think these are like big outlier numbers because everything that I kind of gave you guys and went through is top tier numbers, right? So you're either in the top 5 or the bottom 5, all of the numbers that I kind of shared with you guys. I'll tell you guys this. I don't have a play on the game yet, but to me, it kind of feels like I can't lay 5.5 points with the Miami Heat. I know the Chicago Bulls are coming back from, not even coming back, but they had to, have a comeback, in that game. And typically you want to fade the team in the next situation. The Heat are, and I talked about this the other day, 12-24-2 against the spread as a home favorite. That's 33%. So if you bet on that every single time, you lost. Every 3 bets you place, you lost 2. And every 6 bets you place, you lost 4. Right? Every 9 bets you place, you lost 3, and you only won 3, and you lost 6, right? So this team does not do a great job of covering as a home favorite at all, throughout the entirety of the season, no matter if they're post All-Star break or after the All-Star break. After the All-Star break, only 5-6 to the number, also 8-3 to the over. And by laying in this game, I haven't placed it yet. I'm really close to getting there. I'm really close to taking the points with the Bulls. if I take it might end up being after the show because the more I talk about these numbers, the more I like it. I just kind of did the research and then I kind of stopped and was like, let me pause, think about it for a while. The number wasn't moving, so I was like, I'll just kind of ponder on it real quick and get back to it. So the other thing I want to mention real quick on this game before I jump into the next one is if you guys look into if you signed up for the ChrisBeCappinn 10 my 10 top resources, I got a resource in there called Cleaning the Glass, and it's a website that you guys can subscribe to. They don't pay me, but I absolutely love what they provide. And I talked about that as well. So if you sign up for it, you don't get access to Cleaning the Glass. I pay for the monthly subscription, which I'm happy to do so because I just feel like it's so helpful. So one of the things I looked at per Cleaning the Glass was you can go in and kind of see when these players are on the court. And this may be possible during NBA.com if you go on lineups and look at everything as well. But you can go in and see how lineups play together, right? And it doesn't have to be like a starting five. It could be with 3 guys on the floor, 4 guys on the floor. So if you wanted to see how the Heat perform when every single time when Bam and Jimmy were on the floor together, then they would kind of show you how that looked like with, the other 3 guys, no matter what guys those were. It'll give you their offensive and defensive rank for every single one. So I'll preface by saying this. We all know Patrick Beverley is on this team now. And, a lot can be made of Patrick Beverley and what he brings to a team, his antics, the standing on top of, the scores table after they won last year in Minnesota and they beat the Clippers and knocked them out to make it to the playoffs. But Patrick Beverley has really brought something to this team that is really, really hard to kind of quantify within the numbers because yesterday, if you played his points, rebounds, and assists to go under, you cash with no sweat, right? But he brings something to this team. So what I looked at the Bulls when they have the combination. I went back and looked at the last game that they just played in for the Chicago Bulls against Toronto Raptors was a do or die game. So Coach Billy Donovan had his 4, the guys that he played are the guys that he trusted within his rotation. There's 4 core guys within that rotation. It's Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Vucevic, and I would say Caruso. Those 4 guys are going to play, upwards of 30 to 45 minutes, especially in a do-or-die game like they're facing right now. So when the Bulls have that combination of those 4 guys, LaVine, DeRozan, Vucevic, and Caruso on the floor, every single rotation that they have, no matter who the 5th player was, as long as they have those 4 combinations, they are +8 in points per possession on the floor. So that tells me that this game is going to be extremely close based on those numbers, right? And I'll give you guys a little bit more. So that's throughout the entirety of the season. And that's with a minimum of 116 possessions in a game throughout the entirety of the season. So the other players that I kind of factored in as the 5th player, that Clean the Glass did for me, those guys could be Patrick Beverley. So if Patrick Beverley, Vucevic, DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine, and Caruso are all on the floor, this team is a plus 13.7 when it comes to points per possession per 100 possessions differential. So they're a plus 13.7, plus 14. If Patrick Beverley is subbed out and that other player is Patrick Williams, they're a plus 8. If that other player that's not Zach LaVine, DeRozan, Vucevic, and Caruso, if that is, let's say it's Ayo Dosunmu, 9.7, plus 9.7. And if it's Kobe White, he had the smallest sample size with the 116 points per possession. He is a 24.2. So they do very, very well with those 4 key guys, and then plugging in whether it's Patrick Beverley, Patrick Williams, or Ayo. Those are typically the 3 guys that they're going to go with. So for that reason, I really, 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 really enjoy Chicago side. Like I said, didn't place it yet, just kind of giving you guys the information. One more last thing I want to talk about, the opposite of that, right? So what about when Spoelstra, throws out his guys out there in that same fashion, right? With all of his chips pushed into the middle of the table because, like I said, the loser of this game will go home. I think Spoelstra is going to go with his best lineup for big stretches in this game as well. So in 608 possessions throughout the season, where Spoelstra has had Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry, I would say Caleb Martin. And if you listen to any of the beat, if you read anything from the beat writers today, it was a report that came out that Spoelstra said he could kind of shake the lineup up, and I think that might be starting Caleb Martin. So in 600, back to what I was saying, in 608 possessions throughout the season so far, with Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, Kyle Lowry, Caleb Martin, and Tyler Hero on the floor, the Heat are plus 5.2 in points per possession. They're averaging 112 and a half points 100 possessions, points per 100 possessions, and they're allowing 107.3. So what that tells me is this game could potentially go over, which I think the total is just a tad bit too low given the defense that the Heat have been playing here. Haven't gotten there on taking the over for this game yet, but I do think that this game could go over, even though both of these teams play extremely slow and both of these teams can struggle to score during times of the game. But to me, I think the total's a tad bit too low. But what that tells me, even though they are plus 5.2, is that I think Chicago is the right side in this game. Chicago's been doing that thing where they kind of teetering back and forth between a win-loss. But I think this is a game where even if they lose, I don't think they lose by 6 points. So I'm very, very close. I haven't put it in the chat yet. And if I do, I will, all the members will get to play before. But I really, really like Chicago as far as the side in this one. And I'll be taking the 5.5 points with them. Like I said, tomorrow I'll break down the player props and let you guys know what I'm looking at. Haven't really looked at player props at all. Just been kind of focusing on the side throughout the entirety of my handicap so far. So that's my analysis on the game. I'm going to keep going and let you guys know what I'm looking at in the second one, but I do want to kind of jump back into the comments. And then I'll open it up after I do the second breakdown to anybody else who wants to kind of chime in. Maybe you've done your research and your homework and got a look that you're looking at as well. Let's see. Play the Bucks and then start your vacation. Yeah, that's a fact. Yeah, either one of these, both of these teams going on vacation for sure. Neither one of these teams will beat Milwaukee in the first round. Coop says, does the Heat show up? Lean them first quarter, but I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked. Bulls went outright. Yeah, that's how I kind of feel as well, Coop. So the way my mind works, if you're getting 5.5 points in a do or die game, it almost feels like if you're taking the dog, you kind of have to put something on the money line as well, right? It's not the greatest travel spot for Chicago. The Bulls, I know that the Heat finished the game off. They finished the season off at home. So they haven't had to travel at all. Chicago's been all over the place, traveling up and down the East Coast to finish their season off. And now they will be the less rested road dog in this situation, but they have won 3 times. So maybe they just kind of have their number. Also, I want to mention, I don't know if people looked at this or not yet. I just kind of look into every different area. Kyle Lowry didn't practice today, and Gabe Vincent didn't practice. Gabe Vincent was forgot what he was dealing with. I do expect both of them to play. I think it was Kyle Lowry that didn't practice. Also, Jimmy Butler wasn't even there today. He was out for personal reasons. Not 100% sure what that means. They didn't, disclose any details, but he didn't go through practice today, and that's not a sign that I want, in a do or die game when you actually do get a chance to practice, because everybody who follows the NBA knows that these teams don't get a lot of time to put in practice, and you're kind of working on things. Not that if I'm Spoelstra and it's a guy that's going to miss the practice, I would rather it be Jimmy than anybody else. But to me, that doesn't sit, extremely well with me if I want to back Miami, being that Jimmy wasn't there for personal reasons, no matter what those reasons are. So, what's up to Free Minds? Said Heat losing to the Hawks had me had to be demoralized, and I think the Bulls win straight up. I think they win as well, man. I'm not even responding to that, Derek. Uncut said, I think Patrick Beverley locks down Lowry, and if you take away those points, he gets smacked even worse. Lowry not going for 33 again. 1-2-3 Cancun for the Heat. That's how I'm looking, Uncut. That's how I'm looking. Like I said, full transparency, I haven't placed it yet, but I'm very close to playing that. S-Dot said, what up, Chris? He got worked on the boards. They're not going to start out that flat again. They could start out that flat again, though, S-Dot. I will say this, and this is my last thing that I'll mention on this game, I promise, before I go into the next one, because I did a lot of research. If the Heat have any chance of winning this game and coming close to covering this spread, it will be because they are knocking down their outside shots. The Bulls have, over the course of the last 2 years, been pretty bad defending the three-point line. But I did check the numbers, and post All-Star break, they're middle of the pack when it comes to defending the three-point line. They do give up the most, not the most, but their bottom 6, I think, in three-pointers made for their opponent. So the opponent is making a lot of threes, but I feel like Chicago's doing a pretty good job of keeping the opponent 3-point percentage low, right? So teams I think are only shooting about 36.5%. I want to say. I looked at it earlier, but I didn't jot it down. And if the Miami Heat are going to win this game, it is going to be because a lot of those 3-point shots are going in. So just to kind of add some commentary to what you're saying is that Uncut says Chicago has better metrics in 2-point percentage, 3-point percentage, defensive rebounding percentage, and fast break points. The Heat are 27th in the league in 3-point percentage on the season, and that's what Miami relies on. And that is true. I will tell you guys, Chicago is not the rebounding team that Atlanta is. I talked about Atlanta being a better rebounding team in the matchup against Miami. I mean, you could kind of just tell, it felt like Clint Capella had more rebounds than all of Miami together. He didn't, but he did pull down 20 rebounds. So probably be looking towards Vucevic rebounds in some way, but I haven't really capped any of the player props yet. Does feel like it's a pretty good matchup for him. And, Chicago is just not the greatest rebounding team. If Chicago can somehow rebound the ball better and they can also defend the 3-point line, they should win this game, hands down. So we'll see. We'll definitely see. Let's see. Ali says she can't with y'all. Yeah, y'all leave Ali alone, man. Get off my girl Ali in the chat. That's not me being a Heat fan. Heat fan, and it goes against everything they stand for. Okay. Been a miserable season. I'd rather leave the season with a lottery pick instead of getting swept by the Bucks. I like it, good. I like the way you're looking, man. Tariq says, what's up, Chris? I'm back in Levine from what I saw yesterday. A lot of heart. I mean, they could have rolled over, right? You're away from your home gym. You're probably already thinking about vacation. And Levine comes out there, puts on a show in the third quarter and kind of sparks the team, the morale to say, hey, we're down, but we're not out. And they come all the way back. We see Toronto go on a big drought, miss a lot of free throws. They kind of choked it away. It was extremely interesting. I didn't think it was going to go that way, but it did. Yeah, a lot of great stuff in the comment section. Let's see one more real quick before I break down the second game. Uncut says the Heat are 27 of 30 in the league at 3-point percentage. They're not the same team they were historically that we're historically used to, and I would agree with that as well. Ali says I actually like DeRozan in the game. He's gone over his line every game he's played the Heat. Could not talk you off. I don't know who they're going to put on him either, Ali. And if you put Jimmy Butler on him, then you limit what Jimmy Butler can do on the offensive end as well. I know it's a do or die type game, but I could see DeRozan going back over his points. I haven't even looked at it yet. Like I said, I'll break the player props down tomorrow, and I'll be on the Propcast with Munaf, and we'll do the Propcast on Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Be sure to give us a subscribe over there as well. Podcasts come out on all podcast streaming platforms. So definitely check them out as well. Smokey Bet said, worried that the Bulls have had to come back in games too much. Stay away from me. I can understand that, Smokey Bets. I can definitely I can understand that, but I think I like them in this spot. I think it's more so a fate of Miami as well. It feels like Miami shouldn't even be where they are. I know they kind of got hot at the right time, but yeah, this isn't the Miami team that we're used to. Thoughts on Cat and Rudy feasting against OKC? Perfect segue, YBZ, to where we're going. So interesting game tomorrow. If you're in the ChrisBeCappinn community support tier of the YouTube membership, then you got to play for this one already. I love this game tomorrow, and I'll kind of give you guys the breakdown without giving away my play. My play will be released tomorrow. So line is up to 5.5 now. The Thunder will be road dogs yet again, where they've been darlings all season and, cashing tickets left and right for people who have been backing them on the road. This team is the most profitable team. Yet again, second year in a row that they've been the most profitable road dog team in the league. 21 and 11, 21-11 and 1, or 22 and 11, just depending on where you got the number, if you got the push or not. 65 or 66% is what they've been cashing at, which is extremely profitable. Just to kind of put that in terms of like every other team in the league, it's not really close. The Celtics were road dogs 7 times, and they covered a little bit more, 85%. They were 6-1. So were the Jazz 21 and 10, But after that, man, it kind of stops a little bit. The Kings also did well, 13-7. But after that, you got the Nets, the Magic, the Nuggets, the Knicks, the Bulls. So teams weren't doing as well as the Celtics, the Jazz, and the Thunder as road dogs. But it may be time for the Thunder to kind of start their off season. They did get a really, really quality win last night. I think a lot of people faded them last night for good reason. I kind of faded them, but it was more on a team total, and I kind of wanted to stay away from the spread. 13-20 they are straight up as road dogs as well throughout the season. 20 and 13 to the over. So it's not really their defense, but it's their offense that plays a little bit better than teams are expecting them to, I think, in this instance. But if you look at them post All-Star break, they are only 2-7 straight up, 3-5-1 against the spread, 6-3 to the over as well post All-Star break as road dogs. So similarly to what I kind of talked about with using cleaning the glass as a reference for handicapping this game, I looked at the Thunder in the same regard, right? Yesterday, they were in an extremely competitive game against the New Orleans Pelicans, and their coach put out their best lineup. They didn't get a bunch of bench points. I think they scored maybe 15 bench points. Isaiah Joe chipped in with a 3-pointer, and a couple other guys kind of chipped in with a few points as well. But they have a solid core group of what they're going to be relying on, and those guys are. Let's see. Those guys are, of course, Giddey, SGA, both Jalen Williams and Lou Dort, right? Those are the 5 guys that are going to be on the court majority of the time. So there's a 620 possession sample size with those 5 guys on the court for the Oklahoma City Thunder. And the Thunder are minus 3.9. So points per possession, points per 100 possessions, the Thunder are minus 3.9 on the season. So what that means is they're losing the game by average of 4 points. Hence why you see a line that's extremely close to that at 5.5. This line actually opened at 4.5. And I talked about that as well when I gave out the play earlier. The Thunder, they rank in the 11th percentile out of 100 percentile for points per possession with those 5 guys on the floor, 108.8, and 26th in effective field goal percentage. So they're not shooting the ball well at all, only shooting at 52.8%, while also allowing 112.7 points per 100 possessions. And their opponent is shooting 56.2% as an effective field goal percentage, which ranks in the 25th percentile. So they typically play much better defense, right? We know that they just play with pace. On the opposite side, you look at the Timberwolves. They will. So a couple different things I want to address first as far as injury wise. So Rudy Gobert did come out today after his post game, after the I guess it was a post game practice, and he said that he was struggling with back spasms, and even if he wasn't suspended on Tuesday when they lost to the Lakers, he wouldn't have been able to play. Anthony Edwards, who I feel like is playing injured, he had the tape on his shoulder. I don't think that he plays that bad against the Lakers if he's 100%. But he came out today and said he's fine. He said, no excuses. I got to be better. So those are the 2 big injury implications for this game. And to be quite honest, I really don't care if Rudy Gobert is in or not for my play on this game. What I looked at on the opposite side, right, was I continue to kind of harp on how good the Timberwolves are defensively. That's always been my thing. It's why I couldn't lay that many points with the Lakers. It's why I've been, either on the Timberwolves or kind of off of the game. They only have a 5-game sample size. I'm sorry, a 45 possession sample size. What a lineup of Anthony Edwards. I'm sorry, let's put Mike Conley at the 1, Anthony Edwards at the 2, slow-mo Kyle Anderson at the 3, Karl Anthony Towns at the 4, and Rudy Gobert at the 5. So only 45 possessions, extremely small sample size. Those games probably came where, they were playing Golden State and Sacramento Kings on the second leg of that back-to-back when they had everybody in and nobody rested in those games. They did win both of those games and cover both of those games as well, and they were dogs in both of those games. So in that, with those 5 guys on in those 45 possessions, this team is a plus 11.3 points 100 possessions, points per 100 possessions, which ranks in the 99th percentile out of 100. So they play really, really well together with those 5 guys on the floor, although we don't have a lot of possessions to kind of quantify it. Also, they're defensively, they're allowing 104.3 points per 100 possessions, and they're holding their opponents to 48.8% effective field goal percentage. 48.8%. If you guys are not like really following the effective field goal percentage, 48.8% as an effective field goal percentage is extremely, extremely low. So that kind of quantifies how good I was saying that the defense was. They're also limiting their opponents to 20% offensive rebounds, which ranks in the 29th percentile, which means that teams are not getting a lot of offensive rebounds against them. And it makes sense, right? Rudy Gobert, Karl Anthony Towns. We know that Slow-Mo is a good rebounder. Anthony Edwards can go down and crash the rebounds as well. But also, Oklahoma City isn't the greatest. They don't have the most size, right? Kendrick Williams will start at the 5, and he's only like 6'9", right? So they should have their hands full. I do feel like Coach Chris Finch will deploy this lineup, right? This lineup that I'm talking to you guys about with Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Slow-Mo, Karl Anthony Towns, and Rudy Gobert at the 5. If Rudy Gobert is in, and like I said, if he's out, I'm totally fine with that as well. We saw what they did defensively against the Lakers, who have a lot more, at least in my estimation, have a lot more firepower on the offensive end, than a team like the Oklahoma City Thunder do. And another reason I think that they'll deploy that lineup is because Naz Reid's still not available. Jaden McDaniels, fractured that hand, still not available. So the other player that could come in is probably going to be, Taurean Prince. Nickeil Alexander-Walker will probably be in. Maybe we'll see, a little bit of Jordan McLaughlin. But all of those guys play defense as well. Head-to-head matchup, Timberwolves finished 3-1 against this team. They did go 2-2 against the spread versus the Thunder. And the Thunder's only win, the Timberwolves were without Karl Anthony Towns and without Rudy Gobert in that game. Naz Reid started, in Austin Rivers in Jaden McDaniels as well. So it'll be a much different, lineup than the one that we see here as well. And those totals also, the totals in those 4 games also went 3-1 to the under, but I don't think I want to play the total on this one. I think I'd much rather stay off and just kind of play the side. I do have a side play in this game that's posted in the community section as well. So that's my kind of breakdown. Like I said, I'll go through player props and be on the Propcast tomorrow with Munaf, and we'll kind of talk about some of the player props. But that's what I kind of wanted to share with you guys on my thoughts for the game as well. Let's see. Slow-Mo stocks. I like it, Coop. I like Slow-Mo a lot. I feel like he's, disrespected, undervalued, just not talked about enough for what he does for this team. I know Coop, because you keep up with the game, but if you just look at his rebounds and assist line, it was 13.5, and I was like, man, that number is kind of low. And then he get 13 assists by himself. Like, I think he almost cleared the line with just assists in the last game. Now, of course, you get Rudy Gobert back, which, will slide him back into his natural position. But, he goes out there, he does the same thing no matter what positions he plays, right? He plays the game the right way. Sid says Slow-Mo entirely too slow. There were some pick and rolls where he was too slow to catch and finish. It was pitiful. His shot comes off his hands extremely slow. Yeah, absolutely. So uncut, I would say that Anthony Edwards is not 100%, but that's just me talking. A lot of the times, just a tidbit for you guys, a lot of the times these players are not going to tell you guys when they are not 100%. You won't find out until afterwards. And prime example of that is I don't know if anybody saw it, but if you listen to the post game, the exit interviews for the New Orleans Pelicans, it sounds like CJ McCollum was dealing with not only the finger injury, but he also had a torn labrum, I want to say. There was another injury to CJ McCollum that he had never disclosed to the media at all. So nobody had access to that, not even the beat writers. So I do feel like Anthony Edwards isn't 100%, but he's not going, like Anthony Edwards just came out and said that he, as long as he can walk, he pretty much going to play all these games. And I think Chris Finch and that training staff just trust him to make the right decision, with his body. The season on the line, I don't think there's no way that, Anthony Edwards sits out in this game, whether he's 100% or not. So, yeah, those are my thoughts around Anthony Edwards and his health. Uncut. Um, Uncut says, because if you have one of the best defenders and star players injured, along with the bad chemistry between Slow-Mo and Gobert, just makes me wonder where heads are as a team. I think I watched a lot of the post game interviews after they lost to the Lakers, and it seems like they really want to win this game. Feels like they are going. Everybody's together. I think that's what I always kind of, look for. Nobody kind of hanging their head, everybody understanding what they did wrong. They got outscored 29-16 in the fourth quarter in overtime. Just weren't able to, score a lot of points. You see Anthony Edwards and Karl-Anthony Towns get extremely exhausted late in the game. Offense got stagnant. The Lakers, defense kind of brought them back into it. But the Timberwolves kind of played into the Lakers' hand by not moving the ball, no cutting, not throwing the ball to Karl-Anthony Towns and letting him kind of operate one-on-one from the high post or from the elbow, which I feel like they were trying to just let him isolate. And he was doing a really good job of getting really whatever he wanted against Vanderbilt and Anthony Davis. So, those are my thoughts. I also feel like the refs kind of owed him some as well. I think the Lakers shot 17 free throws in the second half to just the 3 free throws that Mike Conley shot with 0.1 seconds left in the fourth quarter. So, I kind of feel like they owe some as well. And those are my looks, man. 42 minutes. Hit the like button for me if you guys joined late. And if anybody got any thoughts on the games that they want to share, premature thoughts on the games that they want to share, let me know. Shout out to Amazing as well for joining and coming a member. I appreciate you, Amazing, for doing so. And I'll keep it open for just a couple more minutes if anybody want to share, maybe something that I missed, maybe something that conflicts with something that you guys like. It's open for anybody who want to send a request up. Get to as many people as I possibly can in the next few minutes. My guy Stephen, first up. See if I can get him connected. Stephen, can you hear me, bro?
Yeah, I got you loud and clear. You got me?
Yes, sir. What's going on? How you doing today?
I'm doing excellent, bro. How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. I cannot complain, Stephen. It feels good to. I'll just say this real quick, and I'll kick it back to you. It feels good to actually have a day off from basketball, right? So we can kind of process everything that's been going on, right? Give ourselves a break, like really, take the time that we need to kind of handicap the games, and then jump back into it tomorrow, right? So feels good, man, to kind of have that one day break, but it's not too long of a break. So I'm excited for tomorrow, man. Do or die time. My favorite time of the year, man. To me, this kind of feels like Christmas when we have these teams in these must-win situations.
Oh, hell yeah, bro. Man, listen, I actually, at first I hated the fact that today we had off and there's no games, but it was kind of refreshing.
Right.
Don't look at numbers, don't look at charts, don't look at trends, don't read. Just sit down, drink some water or something.
That's a fact.
I haven't got there yet, but I'm just strongly leaning and eyeing is the Jimmy Butler PRA for tomorrow. I mean, it's a one-game sample size. I haven't watched a ton of Bulls, but from what I saw, I was just dumbfounded how they guarded Siakam on the block yesterday. I mean, they had Kobe White at one point, Caruso, Pat Bev, like they all had this rotation, and it felt like their game plan was let Siakam get his and just try to limit. I mean, they didn't limit my dog Fred. Shout out to Fred. Oh my God, I love that man. Love that. So my thought is like, maybe they try to do the same thing where they let Jimmy just kind of like, if he gets the ball on the block and he can operate and it's going to be a guy he can just pull a shot over, I just think that you could really see him in his bag where, last game versus the Hawks, like he got great looks. He just missed them. But, I think he could get a couple down. Then when he gets a couple, if they swing a double, then he can find Strus, a hero on the wing. So I just want to see if I can get your thoughts on one. Like, what are your thoughts on that Jimmy PRA for tomorrow?
I think I love it. Stephen. So me and Cam were going back and forth, and he was saying, he cast the Vucevic line. He was the Vucevic rebounds line that I talked about yesterday. And he said, Chris, the first thing I'm looking at, is Jimmy. No way he has, back-to-back, bad games, right? And I'll say, like, it was uncharacteristic for Jimmy to kind of miss some of those shots. Yeah. But to me, it kind of felt like the lid, just had the basket had a lid on it. Like he was getting point blank, at the rim, shots. And when you think about, the Chicago Bulls, they don't have as much length when it comes to, protecting that rim, right? Like Vucevic isn't too much of a rim protector. They do a really good job of kind of staying in front of the defenders, right? So, I mean, in front of the guys that are, they're guarding. So, yeah, I don't see a lot of that, outside of guys like Patrick Williams, which I'm pretty sure he'll guard, Jimmy for a large majority of the game. But yeah, Jimmy, I feel like Jimmy should get to his spots, and he'll definitely be the first player prop that I look at tomorrow, Stephen, especially with the season on the line and then being at home tomorrow.
Okay, true. Yeah, for sure. I don't want to put too much because I know we're focused on Friday, but do you want any thoughts on Saturday Knicks Cavs?
So I haven't broken it down yet, Stephen. Like, not completely. I know that y'all won the season series. I think going to Cleveland and playing has been extremely difficult for pretty much every single team. I think y'all gotta fight his chance in this series, Stephen. But I want to look a little more into it, man. I think I see defense. I see slow pace. I know that the total opened up at like 214 and is already dropped. Haven't really jumped into like actually capping it, but my initial leans is Cleveland probably wins game one. I'm not sure if they're gonna cover it, because I think the spread is like 5.5. And I also need to. I read some stuff yesterday on your boy Julius Randle.
Yeah,
I don't feel
exactly
like. Yeah, I don't feel like I want to bet on the Knicks with Julius Randle, in his first game back. So those are like my, just my first thoughts, I think.
Yeah, so it's risky because the game is over 48 hours away. But the two plays I have locked in, because I just really think it's a great value. Because one, I don't think Randall's going to play game one. Like, all the reports are just like dark about, he can sprint, but not clear for contact.
I read the same thing. Yep.
Yeah, and then like I went back and I looked at like some Thibodeau coach teams' box scores because I want to get a feel of like how like what does he ride, like 8-man rotation, 9-man, like basically like if you start you're gonna play 36 to 40 minutes. So I have a theory that Julius Randle's not gonna play on Saturday, so that's why I grabbed it now. And the two that are like I love for that game is quickly at 15.5. I already built the ladder because I think that if Randle's out, that thing is going to be 20.5 on Saturday morning. So I'm just grabbing it now. Well, it's 5 points lower. And Brunson, his P+A at 30.5. Brunson's been in his overs last 5. Has been averaging 11 assists a game. You could take just the assist, but it's at like -130, -125. And this is a line where, he didn't cover the Kings game because he got hurt at halftime, but he was going to cover in that game.
Mm-hmm.
So if you factor in his last 8 games, he's covered 6 of his last 8. I think this is a big spot for him. There's something about Donovan Mitchell. Whenever he sees him, he goes crazy, goes ham on him. So those are the two I'm looking at for this game. Like, it's risky because Randle could get ruled in there and some things change. But if Randle's not in there, I love both. And it just really sounds like he's not going to play. So we'll see.
Right. Okay. So quickly, 15.5 points, and you say you go at Brunson at 30.5 points and assists.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be honest, because I'm not telling everyone to do. I'm just telling you what I did. I took quickly to 25 points at +700, because if Randle doesn't play, his line will be 20.5, and RJ's not going to score because I took a cool row and Jared Allen will be there and he has no bag. So it's going to be like, hey, who can score? And also, I took it also because it's kind of like I'm loyal to my guys. The fact that they have Quinn Grimes 2.5 threes at +125 or whatever it was, I don't even have to say anything. You already know.
Oh man, no, I like it, man. I like it. I will say that for a series like that, I know that the Knicks have been playing with a lot more pace. They've been kind of getting up and down the floor. I won't endorse a lot of overs, but I do think you're onto something, Stephen. If you can get a low number, that you kind of, you think moves anyway, right? If it moves up and you get that much value, then I couldn't talk you off. I think if we want to be as smart as we possibly can, then Stephen's theory is a pretty good one. And what I'll say is, if you guys want to do that and kind of jump ahead of the number, you just don't go full unit, right? You just go whatever you want to bet. Let's say you want to bet $100 on it, and I got $100 for quickly, right? And I want to bet, I put $50 on it, 15.5 right now. And then if Julius Randle is ruled out, then you can potentially go up a little bit more, because let's say the line opens at 17.5 versus the 20, and it gets bet up to 20.5. Then you can decide whether you want to go back in or not. But if he gets ruled in, then you can cash out if your book allows you to. But at least you didn't go heavy. You didn't go full unit on it. So I couldn't talk you off your philosophy at all, Steph, and that's something that I've been utilizing as well. If I think I can guess right, because a lot of times I feel like I've been right, but I don't. I want to do a little more research in this, Steph, because I feel like I have been reading the reports from who is it, Fred Katz, I think. Yeah, and a couple of y'all other beat writers, but I haven't really dove into it yet. So I couldn't talk you off though. I like the looks, man. Brunson is going to have the ball in his hands, have the highest usage probably of anybody on the floor, including Donovan Mitchell. So I couldn't talk you off.
They're gonna double them all game. Just like once again, it's like we're still trying to stick to playing. But listen to the Cavs. They were talking about because he cooked them last 2 weeks ago in Cleveland, and Garland was talking about hopefully a Coro's back, whatever. I think they're gonna be, if Randall's not in there, they're gonna be shifting that double team to him all day. So I'm just waiting to see if he's in there because I might go another unit on his assist if it's still 5.5. Because they're just gonna try to get the ball out of his hands. It's so obvious.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of Quentin Grimes, I think, too. Yeah, I got to look a little more into it, Stephen. But I definitely appreciate you jumping ahead because even when we had these conversations, it kind of make me write down things in my notes, and I'm like, okay, this is what I need to look at based on what me and Stephen said during the show. So appreciate you, my brother.
Appreciate you too. Everybody, don't let RJ Barrett ruin your lays like he's ruined mine.
Hey, that's from a real New York Knicks insider, man. Appreciate you. Let me kick it to Ben. Ben, what's going on, man? How you doing? I'm good. You're a little choppy, Ben. Can you hear me? You're a little choppy, Ben. Can you hear me? Maybe not. Let me see if I can get you disconnected and get you back up, Ben. Court, I saw you have requested as well, man. If you got anything you want to share, there you go. If you got anything you want to share, I'll kick it to you. I think it might be your first time up. See what he got. Hey, Court, can you hear me?
I got you. My mic was off. My fault.
Okay, it's all good. What's going on with you? How you doing today, my brother?
Man, good. I appreciate it. I saw a shout out yesterday for the Lou Dort. That was huge. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Man, I was gonna play actually because you mentioned it yesterday. Patrick Williams points. What you thinking about that tomorrow, man? I was gonna play that yesterday, but then I shied off on it. But he looks kind of money. What you thinking about that?
Yeah, I think it's just another chance to kind of catch that low number, man. I'm not really scared of Miami's defense, and I'd rather get the buy low, Court, like on some of these guys that have these low numbers, these 7.5, these 8.5. I always talk about when I did the breakdown, I talked about if I'm taking one of those players, I want them to be taking the amount of shots as same amount of field goals as their point prop, right? Patrick Williams shot 3 for 10 yesterday and still cashed that number for us. And if he's taking 10 shots and his points prop is below 10, I like the number, So I haven't really capped it yet, Court. Just kind of look at the numbers as far as how Miami does on defense against players like him and his game log versus the Miami Heat specifically. But what I will tell you, just off the strength of the cap that I already had, and how I feel like Coach Billy Donovan is going to utilize him tomorrow. He'll be on the floor to try to slow down Jimmy Butler a lot, so that DeRozan doesn't have to do it. So if he's going to be on the floor for 30 minutes, I already I'm talking myself into the over already.
Right, because I'm seeing it at 8.5, and I think yesterday, what was it, 6.5, 7?
7.5 yesterday, and then somebody told me that it went up to 8.5 as well. So, and I always, tell people to kind of shop around, because if it opens at 8.5, it might be juiced, but you might be able to get it at, well, if it opened at 7.5 and it's juice, you might be able to get it at 8.5 if you like that number on another book. So yeah, I'm not playing a lot of overs, Court, but I do like, I do think that we can continue to find value on some of these role players that's going to play big minutes and have opportunities to score.
For sure. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Court. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate the question. You got me looking at something for tomorrow already. Best of luck to you, bro, and all the action that you put in too, man.
All right, for sure. Thanks.
Yes, sir. Ben, you back up?
Hey, can you hear me better now?
Yeah, you better now. What's up, Ben? How you doing, man?
There we go. How you doing? I'll be honest. I took a phone call while you were going over the Wolves and the Thunder game. Did you speak on Towns much?
No, I didn't talk about any of the players, Ben. I said that I just kind of capped the games, and then tomorrow I'll go back in and look at the player props.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm all over Cat. I fortunately got some of these numbers before the random, bare back spasms, thing just came out today. Obviously, I think that's just them making an excuse why they're going to sit them. So I tried to get ahead of that against New Orleans and how well they played the first 3 quarters of the game against the Lakers. I think this is like a Cat legacy game, like to get the frustrations out, like with having Gobert beside him all year, and finally, like it's like the beast is unleashed, the chains are coming off, right? Like I just saw what Valanciunas did last night. And Valanciunas is unathletic enough to get played off the floor, like just unathletic enough to get played off the floor against the Thunder with how they play. Cat is too athletic to get played off the floor tomorrow. I think Valanciunas had 18 rebounds last night and 16 points.
Yep.
And he turned his ankle real bad down the stretch last night. I think we see like a 30 and 16 game tomorrow from Cat. I got his boards this morning at 8.5. It went up to 9.5 right after I took it at plus money. It's down 9.5 now at like minus 120. For those who didn't watch yesterday, Valanciunas had like 8 or 9 rebounds in the first quarter. So really small, and Cat is not really small. So I don't see how he doesn't come away with a double-double tomorrow. I looked at his game log last year just to see how he would show up in the playoffs, and against Memphis, he was really good. I know this isn't technically a playoff game, but this is, for all intents and purposes, right? This is going to feel just like a Game 7, right? Because it's win or go home. So I'm all over Cat tomorrow, and I think something that correlates with that is I'm all over SGA tomorrow too. Cat is not going to be able to commit fouls down low because they don't really have a backup big, and they're going to need him to score with Dort probably guarding Ant. So I mean, I just see that there's not going to be a whole lot of rim protection down low with Minnesota because he's just not going to be able to contest 50-50 shots. Like he'll contest easy contests, but he just can't risk getting in foul trouble because they need him on the floor. Obviously, we saw what happened with the Lakers when he came off the floor and got that 5th foul and the 4th foul. So I think SGA is going to get whatever he wants at the bucket tomorrow. I know the number's pretty high at 33.5, but I think it's high for a reason. He had the worst first half of, I think, his season yesterday, and he still finished at 32 yesterday. So, I love SGA to come too.
Okay. SGA and Cat rebound specifically, right, Ben?
Yup. I mean, I couldn't talk anybody off the PRA. And then I had 2 questions for you also.
Yeah, what's up?
What do we got? And this is probably not something that you got handy now. It's more just for the next couple days. But what do we got on Game 7 over-unders? Just like historically, like last 5 or 10 years. I'm sure you don't got that now, but we can talk about it another time. And then what do you got on Game 2, like home team against the spread when they lose Game 1? Because obviously these are numbers that we're probably going to want to get on right when the number drops, not like wait until we have some discussion about it. Just because those totals and those spreads probably move at least a handful of points. Like, do you have any data on any of that yet, or are you waiting on that?
Nothing that I jumped ahead of. I got some systems already in play that all I gotta do is click a button. But I haven't looked at those numbers specifically. I can tell you what they are. It's just a couple queries away. Let's see. So first thing you said was last 5-year playoffs and
7 unders, yeah.
So let's see. The last 5 years in the NBA looks like everyone has went under. Ben, I don't know if you can hear me. Every one of them have gone under in the Game 7. Look like we've had we haven't had that many Game 7s.
I like that though.
Yeah. No, me too. It looks like they stand under by about 24 and a half points. So yeah, there you go.
Oh wow. Oh geez. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I just want to make sure we have some conversation about it before we got to get on the line without really knowing.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate you, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you said, and I'll look at that other one as well, and I'll have that information when I come back. I'll send it to you in the DM if you want me to, Ben.
I appreciate you. Yeah, that was just like when the home favorite, right, in these 7-game series loses game 1, not just doesn't cover, but loses outright. Like, how does that look in game 2 against the spread?
Right. So game 2, when home favorite loses outright.
Game 1, exactly.
Got you. Okay.
Yep. I appreciate you. Thanks a ton, man.
Absolutely, Ben. Let's get some money, man. Let's get some cash. Okay. Good show, man. Hour in the books. Real quick, let me go through the comment section one more time, and then we're gonna get up out of here. Josh said, I got a feeling Cat is gonna be the infamous Cat, and he and be back in foul trouble all game. I sure don't hope for that. I hope fouls are not a part of this game too much. I also feel like they kind of owe the whistle. I kind of talked about it earlier. People didn't join earlier and missed my analysis on that. Just the free throw disparity between the Lakers and the Timberwolves in the second half, the 17-3 free throw discrepancy. Vaughn said he took the Cavs, the Philly, the Sixers, the Celtics, Phoenix to win the series just outright. Win to get plus 115. Really like all of those teams. I guess he parlayed those teams to win. Yeah, I don't know how I can talk you off any of those. All the favorites in the 1 and 2 spot, it looks like. Philly's in the third. I mean, yeah, Philly's in the third. Philly's the third seed, but yeah. Wave says Donovan Mitchell should go crazy. Ali says if you like Williams, his stocks, Jalen Williams, the brown skin one with the name spelled ALEN. If you like Jalen Williams, his stocks, steals plus blocks, is over 1.5 on DraftKings for 105. He had a steal in in the last 9 of 10 and a block or 2 in 8 of the last 10. That's a really good number, especially with the season on the line. I don't know how I could talk anybody off of that. I really enjoy betting on these player props when as defensive guys and you need them to perform, and that's what their role is. We saw it yesterday with Caruso. I talked about Munoz play. He was on Caruso over 1.5 steals plus blocks, and I think Caruso finished with 2 of each or like 3 of each. He was all over everybody for Toronto. So could not talk you off of that look, Ali. I think that's a solid look. What do you think about Shaq's comments or cannot waiting to win the game on Cat? Oh, you spelled Cat name wrong. I'm like, what? What do you think about Shaq's comments on Cat not wanting to win the game? I think that, and I'll end with this. I think that old school players see the game, in the way that they see they think that the new school players see the game in the way that they see the game, and that's not always true. They talk about what they would do if they're in the situation versus what they see other players do, what other players are saying. So I don't necessarily agree with Shaq's comments all the time. I think he's funny. Of course, he's a Laker. I love Shaq to death. Most dominant big man in my generation, of my time, that I've ever seen with my 2 eyes. But I think Shaq thinks that people should play the game the way he played the game, and everybody's as tough as he is. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I also feel like Karl-Anthony Towns is not, he's still not quite all the way 100%. He talked about it in the post-game interview, this cardio kind of getting there. And he was laboring at the end of the game because he hasn't had to play in a meaningful game with that many minutes since he's been back from the injury. So it all kind of made sense for me for Cat to kind of run out of gas throughout the game. And he was also in foul trouble as well. So that's going to make you play a little more uptight so that you can actually be out there for your team and stay on the floor. So, yeah, I don't agree with Shaq in that one. Juan says, any MLB bets? I didn't place anything in the MLB today. I do have a couple leans, but I didn't play anything official. I'm going to jump on MLB if I get some free time tonight for tomorrow. But like I said, I'm not sharing any MLB bets until probably to the NBA season ends. And if I do, I'll drop them in the community chat. But yeah, I am capping the MLB. I am placing bets on the side, but just not sharing them yet. So yeah, that's what I got there. I'll go back in and make chapters for you guys, just so if people join late, they can kind of go back and watch the breakdown from the Bulls and the Heat game, and then the Timberwolves and the Oklahoma City Thunder. and then I'll add the section for the YouTube comments as well, for everybody who kind of jumped in and had some thoughts as far as as far as the games go that shared from Twitter. So best of luck to you guys on any action that you guys do put in. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow to kind of go through some of the props. I do have my best bet for tomorrow already in the comment section with the line kind of moving already. It is in the Timberwolves in the Oklahoma City Thunder game tomorrow. But that's all I got for you guys today. Like I said, I'll be back tomorrow. And you guys have a good evening. Best of luck on all your wagers that you've placed already. I'm out.